I stared at my phone, unable to move, unable to breathe. The notification from Jessica popped up, and my heart sank. I need a month to decide if you are worth it. 3 years together, and this is what it came to. The velvet box with the diamond ring I spent 6 months saving for sat on our coffee table. I contemplated for what felt like hours, then typed back, "Take all the time you need." I had no idea that within 24 hours everything would change. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. If this has ever happened to you, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, what she discovered 24 hours later will shock you too. I met Jessica at the software company where we both worked. It was 3 years ago during the company Christmas party. I had been working there as a software engineer for about 2 years, while Jessica had recently been promoted to marketing director. She wore a red dress that night, and I remember thinking she was way out of my league. "You keep staring at the new marketing director," my coworker laughed, nudging my arm. "Why not go talk to her?" I normally would have made up some excuse, but something about that night gave me courage. I walked over and introduced myself. To my surprise, we clicked immediately. Jessica was smart, ambitious, and had a laugh that could light up a room. We talked until the party ended and I asked for her number. Our relationship progressed quickly after that. We went from casual coffee dates to dinner several times a week. By our 3rd month together, we were practically inseparable. My friends joked that I had disappeared, but the truth was, I had never been happier. 8 months into our relationship, we decided to move in together. It made sense financially, and we were spending most nights together anyway. We found a nice apartment downtown, close enough to walk to work on nice days. Living together felt natural, like we had been doing it for years. 6 months ago, we had what I considered our preliminary engagement. We were on vacation in Hawaii, sitting on the beach at sunset. Jessica turned to me and asked, "Do you ever think about our future?" "All the time," I replied. "And what do you see?" she asked. "You, just you, forever." She smiled and kissed me. I would say yes, you know, if you asked. I remember feeling my heart race. "Is that a hint?" "Take it however you want," she said with a playful smile. That conversation stuck with me. I started saving for a ring immediately. Not just any ring, but one that would take her breath away. I opened a separate savings account and put aside money from every paycheck. I worked overtime when I could take on freelance projects on weekends. I wanted the proposal to be perfect, worthy of the woman I loved. But over the last 2 months, things started to change. Jessica became distant. She started working late more often, canceling our dinner plans and spending less time at home. At first, I attributed it to work stress. Her department had several major campaigns launching, and I knew how important her career was to her. "Everything okay?" I asked her one night when she came home after 10. "Just tired," she replied, barely looking at me as she headed straight for the shower. It was around that time that her friend Amanda started showing up more frequently. Amanda had never been particularly friendly toward me. She always seemed to have a slight smirk when I was around, like she knew something I did not. One night, I overheard them talking in the kitchen. "You could do so much better," Amanda said. "You know that, right? Patrick is sweet, but he is not exactly going places." I froze in the hallway, waiting for Jessica to defend me. "He is stable," was all she said. Stable. Like I was a reliable appliance, not someone she was planning a future with. It stung, but I told myself she was just venting. Everyone complains about their partners, sometimes right. Then came the company restructuring. We got a new executive director, James Callahan. He was brought in from a competitor to shake things up and improve performance. I remember his first all-hands meeting. He was tall, polished, and spoke with the confidence of someone who knew exactly how valuable he was. Within a week of his arrival, Jessica was assigned to a special project team working directly with James. She was thrilled. "This could be huge for my career," she told me. I was happy for her, truly. But that was when things really started to shift. She was rarely home before midnight. When I suggested we plan a weekend getaway to reconnect, she said she could not possibly take time off with this project underway. The company summer party was the first social event I attended alone. When I asked Jessica if we could go together, she said she would be too busy networking to spend time with me anyway. I showed up and immediately felt out of place. Across the room, I spotted Jessica laughing with James, her hand casually resting on his arm. "They make a good team," said Kyle, one of my teammates coming up beside me. "Yeah, the marketing campaign is going well," I replied. Kyle gave me an odd look, but did not say anything else. A week later, Jessica started talking about needing space in our relationship. "I feel like we have fallen into a routine," she said, "like there is no excitement anymore. I tried everything to fix things. I planned surprise date nights. I listened more attentively. I even suggested couples therapy. Nothing seemed to make a difference. Jessica was slipping away, and I did not know how to hold on. Then came the text that shattered everything. I was at the florist picking out her favorite lilies. I had planned a special dinner, thinking maybe we could reconnect over wine and good food. Maybe I would even propose properly, finally give her the ring I had been saving for. That was when my phone buzzed. "I need a month to decide if you are worth it. Please do not contact me during this time. I need space to think clearly about our future." The words hit me like physical blows. Worth it. 3 years together, and she needed to decide if I was worth it. I called her immediately, but she did not pick up. I texted asking what was going on, and all she sent back was, "I just need space. Do not contact me." I went home in a daze. Our apartment felt empty, though nothing had been moved. I sat on the couch, the ring box still in my pocket, and tried to make sense of what was happening. Around midnight, my phone rang. It was Kyle. "Are you okay?" he asked. I heard about Jessica, heard what I asked. There was a pause. "You do not know. Know what, Kyle? I do not want to be the one to tell you this," he said, his voice uncomfortable. "But everyone at the office knows something is going on between Jessica and James." I felt sick. "What are you talking about?" "They have been seen together outside of work. A lot. Sarah from accounting saw them at a restaurant in the next town over. They looked intimate." "That could be a work dinner," I said, but even I did not believe it. Kyle sighed. "There is more. James booked a hotel room for the marketing retreat next weekend. He added Jessica to his room reservation. I only know because my girlfriend works in the hotel booking department and recognized their names." After I hung up with Kyle, I sat in stunned silence. Then methodically I started gathering information. I reached out to other colleagues I trusted. I checked our shared calendar and credit card statements. I even looked at the location history on our shared phone plan. The evidence was overwhelming. Jessica had been lying to me for weeks. The late nights working were actually spent with James. The special project team was just the two of them most of the time. And the hotel booking Kyle mentioned was real. I found the confirmation email in our shared home computer. I called my college friend Steve, who now worked as a corporate attorney. "I need advice," I said. "Professional advice." Steve listened as I explained the situation. "You need to protect yourself," he said finally. "Financially and professionally. If they are having an inappropriate relationship given their positions, the company has policies against that. But you need to be careful how you proceed." Following Steve's advice, I spent the next morning removing my name from our joint accounts and transferring my savings to a new account. I gathered all the evidence I had found, organizing it meticulously. I had email exchanges, location data, witness statements from colleagues, and even a photo someone had taken at a restaurant, showing Jessica and James holding hands across the table. I also discovered something I had not expected. James had fast-tracked Jessica for a vice president position, bypassing several more qualified candidates, including people who had been with the company for years. It appeared that their relationship was not just personal, it was also a vehicle for professional advancement. By evening, I had a complete file of evidence and a plan. I decided not to confront Jessica directly. Not yet. First, I needed to make sure the truth came to light in a way that could not be denied or explained away. The 24 hours after receiving Jessica's text were a blur of activity. At exactly 9 in the morning, I sent an email to our human resources department With all the evidence of Jessica and James's relationship, I attached the company policy handbook with the relevant sections highlighted. The policy was clear: relationships between managers and their direct reports must be disclosed. James, as executive director, was effectively everyone's boss, and the policy was even stricter for senior leadership. Simultaneously, I sent a separate email to the board of directors, outlining how James had been abusing his position of power and violating company ethics by offering promotions to someone he was romantically involved with. "I am not doing this out of spite," I wrote. "I am doing this because I believe in the integrity of our workplace, and I cannot stand by while qualified employees are passed over due to improper relationships." After sending the emails, I canceled the credit card Jessica and I shared. I packed up the most important of my belongings, my laptop, important documents, family heirlooms, and enough clothes for a few days. I took them to my parents' house, explaining that Jessica and I were taking a break. My mom looked concerned. "This is not like you, Patrick. What is really going on?" I told her everything. About Jessica's text about James, about the evidence I had gathered. "I raised you to stand up for yourself," she said, hugging me tightly. "I am proud of you." Next, I drove to Jessica's parents' house. They had always been kind to me, and I felt they deserved to hear the truth from me directly, not whatever version Jessica might tell them later. Jessica's mother answered the door, surprised to see me. "Patrick, is everything okay? I need to talk to you." "And Mr. Thompson," I said. "It is important." They listened quietly as I explained the situation, showing them some of the evidence I had gathered. I was careful to stick to facts, avoiding any vindictive comments about their daughter. "We did not raise her to behave this way," Jessica's father said, finally looking disappointed. "She has always been ambitious," her mother added softly. "But this is not right." I returned to our apartment, knowing what was coming. Sure enough, by early afternoon my phone exploded with notifications. Kyle texted that there had been an emergency board meeting. James had been immediately suspended pending investigation. Jessica had been called into a meeting with HR and the management team. The rumors spread through the company like wildfire. My inbox filled with messages from colleagues, some expressing sympathy, others seeking gossip. I ignored them all. At 4:30, my phone rang. It was Jessica calling for the first time since sending her text. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again, and again. Finally, she sent a text. "We need to talk. Right now." I waited another hour before responding, "Okay, coffee shop on Main." 7 tonight. I chose a public place deliberately. I did not trust myself to be alone with her, and I did not want our conversation to devolve into a screaming match in our apartment. I arrived early and selected a table in the corner away from other customers but still visible to everyone. Jessica walked in at 7:15 looking disheveled in a way I had never seen her before. Her eyes were red, her makeup smudged. She slid into the seat across from me without ordering anything. "How could you do this to me?" she hissed. "Do what I asked calmly. Tell the truth. You have ruined everything. Do you have any idea what you have done? James is suspended. I have been demoted. Everyone is talking. I took a sip of my coffee. I ruined everything." "That is interesting. Tell me, when exactly were you planning to tell me about you and James?" "It is not what you think," she said, lowering her voice. "It was a professional relationship that got complicated. I was going to end it. That is why I asked for space. I needed to figure things out. So the text asking for a month to decide if I am worth it, that was you planning to end things with James." "Yes, no. I do not know." She ran her hands through her hair. "James offered me opportunities that could change my entire career. Vice President of Marketing by 30. Do you know how rare that is? And all you had to do was sleep with him and break my heart. Seems like a fair trade." The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. "It was never supposed to go this far," she said, tears forming. "I got caught up in the excitement, the potential. James made me feel like I could have everything I ever wanted. And what about us? The future we planned, the house we were going to buy. Did that mean anything to you? Of course it did. You are stable, reliable. I love that about you. Stable, I repeated. You used that exact word when talking to Amanda, like I am a piece of furniture. Jessica looked startled. You heard that I heard a lot of things over the past few weeks. But here is what you should know. I pulled out my phone and showed her the file I had compiled. Emails, photos, location data, witness statements. James was not offering you a promotion because you are talented, Jessica. Though you are. He has done this before. At his last company, he had affairs with 3 different employees, promoted them all, then left them behind when he moved on. I found this out with one phone call to a friend who works there. Jessica's face went pale. That cannot be true. It is, and there is more. The vice president position he promised you. The board never approved it. They were not even aware of the plan to create a new VP role. It was a lie to keep you invested in the relationship. How do you know that? She whispered. Because the chairman of the board told me so himself when I spoke to him this morning. James was operating completely outside his authority. Jessica started to cry in earnest now. I have made such a terrible mistake. Yes, I agreed. You have. Can we fix this? She asked, reaching for my hand across the table. Can we go back to how things were? I will quit my job. We can move to a new city, start fresh. I pulled my hand away. No, Jessica, we cannot. You did not just cheat on me. You were willing to throw away 3 years together without even a conversation. You texted me that you needed time to decide if I was worth it. That tells me everything I need to know about how you value our relationship. I was confused, she pleaded. James got in my head. He made me question everything. And that is exactly why we cannot go back. Because when things got complicated, your instinct was not to talk to me, not to work through it together. Your instinct was to lie, to sneak around, and ultimately to discard me. I stood up. I have already moved most of my things out. I will get the rest this weekend when you are not there. Do not contact me again, Jessica. We are done. The aftermath was messy, as these things often are. James was fired after the investigation confirmed he had violated multiple company policies. He tried to fight it, threatening lawsuits and making accusations, but the evidence was too strong. The last I heard, he was struggling to find another executive position, his reputation tarnished by the scandal. Jessica was demoted from her director position. The company could have fired her, but they chose leniency, given that James had been her superior and there was an element of power imbalance. Still, her career trajectory was permanently altered. The fast track to executive leadership she had been promised evaporated overnight. As for me, I received a surprising amount of support. The board commended my integrity in a difficult situation. My direct manager told me privately that he respected how I had handled everything. Even colleagues I barely knew stopped by my desk to offer words of encouragement. The most unexpected conversation came from Amanda, Jessica's friend. She cornered me in the parking garage 2 weeks after everything exploded. I owe you an apology, she said, looking uncomfortable. For what I asked, though, I had a good idea. For encouraging Jessica. For telling her she could do better than you. She shifted from foot to foot. The truth is, James had promised me a position too, if I helped convince Jessica to, well, you know, to leave me for him. She nodded, looking ashamed. I was jealous of what you two had. My own love life is a disaster, and the idea of a promotion was too tempting. I should have been angry, but I just felt tired. We all make mistakes, Amanda. The initial shock and anger eventually gave way to a deeper, more persistent pain. I moved into a smaller apartment across town. I threw myself into work, accepting new projects and challenges that I had previously been hesitant to tackle. My performance improved, and 6 months later I was promoted to senior engineer. But outside of work I struggled. I avoided dating completely for the first few months. The idea of trusting someone again seemed impossible. I had nightmares where I discovered everyone in my life had been lying to me. I became hyper-vigilant, looking for signs of deception in every interaction. My friend circle changed. Some mutual friends sided with Jessica, believing her version of events. Others simply found the whole situation too uncomfortable and drifted away. But new people entered my life too. I joined a local hiking group and made friends who knew nothing about my past. Slowly, painfully, I rebuilt. I started seeing a therapist, something I had never considered before. She helped me understand that Jessica's betrayal was not a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of her character, her choices. You cannot control what other people do, my therapist told me. You can only control how you respond. I chose to respond by recommitting to my values: honesty, integrity, self-respect. I had stood up for myself in a situation where many might have simply walked away, and I was proud of that. 6 months after our coffee shop confrontation, Jessica asked to meet. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a park sitting on a bench overlooking the pond where we used to feed ducks on Sunday mornings. "You look good," she said. "Happy." "I am getting there," I replied. "I miss you," she said softly. "Every day." I did not respond. "I have had a lot of time to think," she continued. "About us, about what I threw away, about the kind of person I want to be." She took a deep breath. "I know it is probably too late, but I wanted to ask if there is any chance for us, any chance at all." I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in months. She was still beautiful, still the woman I had once planned to spend my life with. But something fundamental had changed. The trust was gone, and without it, love could not survive. "I have something for you," I said, reaching into my pocket. I pulled out the velvet ring box and placed it on the bench between us. Jessica's eyes widened. "Is that?" "I was going to propose the night you sent that text," I said. "I had the ring, the flowers, dinner reservations at your favorite restaurant." She picked up the box with trembling hands and opened it. Inside was the diamond ring I had spent 6 months saving for a princess-cut stone on a platinum band, exactly the style she had once mentioned loving. "Patrick," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I do not hate you, Jessica," I said gently. "I hope you find happiness truly, but it will not be with me." I stood to leave, but she caught my arm. "Wait, what should I do with the ring? Keep it, sell it, whatever you want. That chapter of our lives is closed." As I walked away, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The anger and bitterness I had carried for months began to dissipate. I was ready to move forward. 2 weeks later, I ran into Stephanie, a former colleague who had left the company before the whole scandal. We got coffee, then dinner, then started seeing each other regularly. Unlike my relationship with Jessica, things with Stephanie progressed slowly, naturally. We took time to build trust, to learn about each other's values and goals. Stephanie was different from Jessica in many ways. Less flashy, more genuine. She valued integrity over advancement, connection over status. When I finally told her the full story of what had happened with Jessica, she held my hand and said, "Their loss was a gain for everyone else who values honesty." A year after Jessica's text, I found myself in a relationship built on mutual respect and authentic communication. I had a job I enjoyed, friends who supported me, and a newfound appreciation for my own resilience. Looking back, I realized that Jessica's request for a month to decide if I was worth it had been a blessing in disguise. It forced me to decide if I was worth more than what she was offering, and I was. Sometimes the person who truly values you is not the one you have been fighting to keep, but the one waiting for you to realize your own worth. I am grateful every day that I found the courage to stand up for myself, to demand the respect and honesty I deserved. Because in doing so, I opened the door to a life far better than the one I had been clinging to. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to walk away from someone you loved? What signs did you notice that showed they did not value you? Leave your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength in difficult situations. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember, your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. Take care of yourselves. I will be back next week with another story.